welcome Minister Brown. I'm not sure who's going first, so Senator McDougall.
3 and 2, Cathaoirleach.
3 and 2, that's perfect.
I want to welcome the Minister of State here.
It's 4 minutes, so it's 2 and 2.
Oh, 2 and 2,
yeah.
That'll do better. I just want to welcome the Minister for State here on this occasion. It is a sad day that outside every criminal court in Ireland, the barristers' profession are standing in protest against the unjust actions of our government, which has been blind to a very serious unfairness which has been visited on them. To be clear, you know, in 2008 to 2011, there was a reduction on barristers' fees in the light of the economic crisis that was there at the time of between 28 and 69%. In real terms, there's been a reduction of 40% in legal aid fees for barristers since 2002. Nearly everybody else in any criminal court, be it the judge, be it the registrar, be it the Gardaí, anybody else, state solicitors, all of them have had their pay restored. But somebody in the Department of Public Enterprise and Reform has taken a consistent view that barristers should be singled out for a punitive failure to implement the terms of the Haddington Road Agreement and FEMPI, which called for reviews of reductions. And even though those reviews have been carried out pursuant to statute and a recommendation has been made that the pay rates for these people should be restored, nothing has been done. Now that's very, very sad. I was here in May of last year and I said on that occasion that, this was a scandal. I wrote to Paschal Donoghue, the minister, and I pointed out to him that I'd been present in July at a dinner where the minister said, I of course recognise the vital role played by barristers in undertaking criminal legal aid work. I see no good reason why those in the legal profession are left waiting for crisis-era reductions to be restored, while public and civil servants have had their pay restored. It's very much on my agenda for the budgetary discussions with Minister Donoghue. Well, the time now has come for the government to, I'm not going to use a crudity, but to get off the fence and to deliver justice to people who are working at rates that nobody else in these houses would work for.
Look, it's an unprecedented action today where countrywide we have barristers and solicitors representing clients accused of criminal offences actually boycotting our court system. I think it's the first time in the history of the state that this has happened. And I think it represents, as outlined by Senator McDougall, a crisis in their pay and remuneration, to the extent that it is difficult for the criminal bar to recruit graduates into this really essential component of our justice system. And I listened very carefully to Sean Gearan, Senior Counsel on radio during the week, when he talked about this goes to the very heart of our confidence in the administration of justice in Ireland. For the Director of Public Prosecutions to bring forward charges on a citizen and for that citizen to contemplate perhaps the loss of their liberty, it is a very, very serious moment, and it is something for which the professional formation of our criminal barristers is absolutely essential to the administration of justice. So I would ask you, Minister, in the coming days prior to the budget, would you impress upon your colleagues at Cabinet, I beg your pardon for the big pause there, impress upon your colleagues at Cabinet the requirement to deal with this at budget. It's, as I said, it's unprecedented. People outside our court system, you know, two professional groups that would never have taken this action before. I think that underlines the crisis that they have professionally, but also the wider crisis in terms of confidence in the administration of justice in the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister, just before you come back in, could we welcome St. Terns Community School from Dundrum to the Chambers? So you're very welcome. Sorry, Minister, if you'd like to come back in.
Thank you, Cathaoirleach, and I thank the senators for raising this very important issue, and I can assure the House that Minister McEntee and I fully recognise the important role played by barristers in the administration of justice, both in the context of working to defend those accused and working with the DPP in respect of prosecutions. We are engaged in discussions with the Minister for Public Expenditure on the issue of criminal legal aid fees as part of the budgetary process. I also acknowledge and appreciate the ongoing cooperation and flexibility shown by barristers in working with government and the courts to improve efficiencies and create a more victim-centred system, including through a number of actions to give effect to the recommendations of supporting a victim's journey. As you are no doubt aware, my department administers the criminal legal aid system and is responsible for making payments under the scheme. During the financial crisis, council fees were indeed subjected to numerous reductions, which form part of a broader government agenda to reduce spiralling costs. In 2018, the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform sanctioned a review process, which was led by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in conjunction with the Department of Justice. This review concluded that there was sufficient ongoing flexibility to justify these cuts being reversed. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and my department have engaged with the Department of Public Expenditure, the National Development Plan Delivery and Reform in relation to restoration of pay on behalf of both prosecution and defence counsel. There are also valid concerns in criminal law practice about the difficulties in attracting new barristers into the criminal bar, and indeed difficulties in retaining those currently practising. In relation to the restoration of fees and the proposed withdrawal of services, I do regret that it has come to this. Minister McEntee and I have both met on different occasions with representatives of the Bar Council and explained that there are ongoing discussions with Minister Donoghue in the context of the upcoming budgetary process. I can assure the Senators, as I did the Bar Council, that this matter is and remains one that I hope can soon be resolved. Thank you, Ciara.
Well, just briefly in reply, can I say this? I welcome the Minister of State's remarks. Indeed, I welcomed the view taken by the Minister for Justice herself at the event that I referred to earlier. But it's not good enough that a Department of State, which is part of a collective government, should leave us in the position that the Director of Public Prosecutions conducted a review, recommended the ending of these cutbacks, and that nothing has been done for more than 15 years now. For 10 years now. It simply isn't good enough, and it does suggest to me, and I have to say this, that there is an agenda in deeper against barristers, and it can only come down to some civil servants, but they must be senior, who have taken the view that barristers can take a hammering without knowing what it is like to be a junior barrister starting off in your first year and being given 16 to 20 euros to attend the district court to conduct a criminal case. You wouldn't get anybody to visit your house for that kind of money, except a tax collector. And I make the point that it's about time that whoever is responsible for driving this agenda in deeper looks in a mirror and does the decent thing. And it's about time that Minister Donoghue, to whom I wrote in July, that he should face up to his obligations as well.
Thank you, Senator. The next, the Minister.
I thank again the Senators for raising what is a very important matter, and as I have said, Minister McEntee and I are engaging with the Minister for Public Expenditure on the issue of criminal legal aid fees as part of that budgetary process. And it is also worth mentioning that I am progressing legislation to modernise and improve the operation of the criminal legal aid scheme more generally. This proposed legislation will strengthen oversight and governance structures for the scheme and provide for automation of payments and for a comprehensive review of fees and how those fees are paid and the manner in which they are paid. To conclude where I started, I recognise and appreciate the important role played by barristers in undertaking criminal legal aid work, and I suppose I should declare I was one of those barristers for many a year, and it is a fundamental part of our criminal justice system and the administration of a fair system of justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Okay. Moving on to our next commencement matter.